Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am Shay, and this, of course, is Creepy Critiques, and you're getting another video that was recorded on the same day as my tarot review because here we are. I think I said in my last video or in the tarot review that I was batch filming, so yay. Also, sorry if the lighting kind of sucks on this side. I decided to record this during the day. In Florida right now, we are under, well, at least where I'm at, we're under tornado watch because of Tropical Storm Debbie. I'm not sure if it's a hurricane or not yet. I haven't checked since this morning, but I'm guessing Tropical Storm Debbie. Yeah, it could be a hurricane by now. I don't know, but we are under tornado watch because of that. And I thought it was going to get darker outside because of that, but it's been sunny and I'm like, oh, okay. This is not me poking fun at the hurricanes. I don't want anybody to think that. I just thought it was going to get a little bit darker and hopefully I'd have a few hours of that overcast before the storm actually got intense and possibly knocked my power out. But the sun is shining, which is a good thing, but also a bad thing because now I've got this bright, obnoxious white light and I don't feel like recording on another day. I'm in the mood to record today. So here we go. But this video that you guys are watching today, is actually going to be quite different. This is a video because we have gotten I still say almost all of our announcements, even though we technically know the last announcement, they just haven't announced it yet. We have gotten all of our announcements for Halloween Horror Nights this year. And I say every year, but I haven't been doing YouTube for this long. Last year on my other channel that I used to do, I did a Halloween Horror Nights tips and tricks. Me and my co-host that I was with at the time, we did a tips and tricks video, and we also talked about the event that year. And I was like, I want to do one for this year. And we're already in August. And we are, let me get my phone out. We are 26 days from opening night to Halloween Horror Nights. I am stoked. I'm ready to go. Let's talk about this. So this isn't a creepy critique. This is creepy tips, I guess. No, it's still creepy critiques, but it's not really a creepy critique today. We're not critiquing anything. We're just talking about this event. And then I'm going to give you at the end of the video some tips and tricks for Halloween Horror Nights 2024. So get ready, get set. It's going to be a great season. I'm ready for it. I'm super pumped, super hyped for HHN, and I cannot wait to see what they have in store for us at HHN 33. So without further ado, let's get into this special edition of Creepy Critiques. Alright, so for those of you who have no idea what Halloween Horror Nights is, first of all, how'd you get here? Because I post quite a bit of stuff about Halloween Horror Nights on my channel, so it's kind of funny that you're here and you don't know what Halloween Horror Nights is. But that's okay. I'm gonna let you know what the event is, like the basics of the event. Halloween Horror Nights is a separately ticketed event that runs at Universal Studios Orlando and Universal Studios Hollywood, but we're going to focus on Orlando because that is where I live. It's a separately ticketed event that runs from August 30th to November 3rd. This is the first time ever in the history of the event that it's opening in August. That is huge. And actually, fun fact, the Unmasking the Horror Tour starts on my birthday. I'm unfortunately not going, but it starts on my birthday, so I'm super hype about that. The hours for the event are 6:30 p.m. to 2 a.m. If you do stay in Scream, or I guess it's called Scream Early is the actual official name for it, which is basically where you buy a ticket. We'll talk about it in a minute, but you buy a ticket so you can be in the park early. That will probably be open around 5:45 to 6 p.m. I believe last year we actually got through Stranger Things. They started lining us up for Stranger Things at like 5:30. Like we started like going into the actual Stranger Things line at like 5:30. So I don't know exactly when they opened the houses, but I just know that we were in line already at that point in time. All right, so now that you know it's an event that's at Universal Studios Orlando, let's talk about the prices, because these prices, whoo girl, yeah, these prices this year. So single night tickets start at $82.99. When I say start at, that means that they can vary between $82.99 all the way up to like a couple, like 100 and I think 110 maybe maximum. Depending on what night you go, they can be like pretty expensive. And the closer you get to Halloween, the more expensive it is. You can do express passes, however. These get you fast access to all 10 houses one time per pass. This year, that starts at $149.99. It's a lot of money for express passes. There is a special event that is happening on August 29th, and it is a limited capacity Halloween Horror Nights preview, basically. And you have all you can eat food and non alcoholic beverages. And that is $350 for this event. Now, I expected this event to be sold out. It is still available because they keep sending me emails about buying this. And I'm like, personally, like, I think I mentioned this in one of my videos a few weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago. I won't be going to an event like that for $350 only because it's about the same price as buying a frequent fear pass, and I'd rather go multiple times and be able to experience the season of Halloween Horror Nights than go one night and the limited capacity thing sounds lovely. All you can eat food and drink sounds lovely. It's just a high price for me, for somebody who just likes the event and likes the season. I think it's a very smart idea for people who maybe will be vacationing during that time and maybe they can't go opening night for whatever reason. I also think it's an interesting idea for people who are maybe a little bit more like sensitive to large crowds. That might be a little bit better of an event for them to go to. It definitely has its purpose, not knocking it at all. It's just not something for me. And I think for a lot of people, they feel the same way, especially people in this area. Then now we move on to, there are 4 like annual passes for the event. We call them annual passes. So there's 4 annual passes. They each have a different tier. And I will say this right now, that the express pass, the annual passes with express passes for each one of these tiers sold out the same day. So you can still buy these multi-day passes, but you cannot buy those multi-day passes with express pass unless you buy a separate express pass for like a specific day. So I'm just letting you know that, because there's a lot of people that are saying that the frequent fear passes are sold out. They're not sold out. It's just the one with express pass. If that's what you wanted to buy, that's unfortunately that's the reality, is that they sold out the same day. If that's not what you wanted to buy, you still have plenty of time to buy any of the other 4 passes, I should say. So let's start with the first pass, the Rush of Fear pass. It gets you into all of the September dates, except for some reason the last week of September, which I don't understand why, because that is a full week of September that they just cut out. And I had this conversation because a friend of mine wants to go to Halloween Horror Nights and planned to go that week. So we had to reconfigure our plans because of this situation, because she was going to get the Rush of Fear pass and now she can't. But yeah, just keeping that in mind, if you are thinking about getting the Rush of Fear pass because it gives you all of September, it doesn't really get you all of September. It cuts out the final week. That pass starts at $179.99. And then the frequent fear passes we have, the first one is frequent fear pass, get up to 30 nights. And that gives you Sunday through Thursday plus the first weekend. So you can go Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the first weekend. But with the frequent fear pass, the basic frequent fear pass, you can only go Sunday, Wednesday, and Thursday. You cannot go Friday and Saturday. So that is priced at $239.99. The second tier is frequent fear plus pass, and that gives you up to 40 nights. That will give you the Fridays. So you have Sunday through Friday versus Sunday through Thursday. So you can go Sunday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And that is $289. And it gives you the first and last Saturday event nights. So you can get the first Saturday and then the last Saturday. That comes up to $289.99. And then finally, the ultimate frequent fear pass gets you every single night of the event and free regular parking after 5 p.m. on all event nights. That one is a whopping $399.99. Can you guess which one I got? Yes, I got the frequent fear pass this year, the ultimate frequent fear pass. I got that one, yeah. But it's worth it because I did the Rush of Fear last year and I did enjoy having that, but I was kind of upset that I couldn't go because when I got my Rush of Fear pass, I had 1 week left to use it, and I did get to do everything, but I would have liked to have been able to enjoy the season a lot longer. So I'm glad I got that pass. So the RIP tour is $359.99. So this is a guided tour with front of the line access to all of the houses. It starts at $359.99. Now I need to make this very clear. It does not include admission to the park for the event. So you still have to buy a Halloween Horror Nights ticket plus the RIP tour. So I've heard it's worth it, though. I've heard it's worth it. I would love to do one year, but yeah. Um, then there is the Scream early ticket, and this is an offering that they started in 2021, and it gets anybody with this ticket into the park between the hours of 3 to 5 p.m. to go to the Stay and Scream areas. And this one is $55. It's crazy because this started at $30 and now it's 50. And then finally, like I said, this is the Behind the Screams Unmasking the Horror Tour, a daytime guided tour with the lights on through either 3 or 6 houses, depending on what you purchase. And it starts at $99.99. That's the one that I said is starting on my birthday. So that's pretty cool. I do want to do that 1 year where I can go and just see the sets because I think that's pretty cool as well. So as you can see, their tickets are a bit pricey, but I think that they're worth it. Like I said, I got the Ultimate Frequent Fear Pass, and I hope that I can go multiple times throughout the season. Like I'm already planning on going literally Friday, Saturday, and Sunday opening night of opening weekend of Halloween Horror Nights. Get like all 3 nights out of the way. And then I know I'm planning on going at the end of September. I'm sure in between there somewhere, I'm probably going to go sporadically here and there, maybe pop over a couple times after work when I'm not working nights. Yeah, so I'll be there. I'll be there quite frequently, I'm sure. So I can't wait for that. So now let's move on to what to expect as far as houses and scare zones go. We've got an interesting lineup this year. In my last video regarding Halloween Horror Nights, I explained how some people have a problem with this year's lineup. I personally don't, but we're going to get into it. I'm also going to give you what I'm most excited for each category for the houses and scare zones to what I'm least excited for, but this is not arranged in that right now. It's just arranged in how it's shown on the website. So the first IP that we have is A Quiet Place. Make a sound and you won't last long. Monstrous creatures will hunt you down as the world of the first two films comes to terrifying life. Then we have Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. An ancient artifact has released a chilling new entity, Garaka. He'll stop you cold. Only the Ghostbusters can keep you from getting iced. Insidious, The Further. Don't get trapped in the Further as terrifying demons try to ensnare you. Enter the red-faced demon's lair behind the red door and try to keep away from Keyface so he can't lock up your spirit. And then the last IP we have is Universal Monsters Eternal Bloodlines. Get caught in an epic battle as Saskia Van Helsing and the Bride of Frankenstein go up against Dracula's daughter and her monstrous mavens. So we call that a phenomenon. If you know, you know. Then we have, for the originals, we have 6 original houses this year. So we have Monstros, the monsters of Latin America. Ten Cuidado, with La Muerte as your guide. Try to survive the night with 3 terrifying legends. I cannot say that word for some reason, but I will put it up on the screen. Then there's La Lechuza and El Cibon. Then we have Slaughter Cinema 2. It's time for another horror movie marathon at the Cary Drive-In. Screen through scenes from Creature Features, Grindhouse Gore, and more. Then we have the museum, Deadly Exhibits. A folklore museum's newest exhibit, The Rotting Stone, has released an evil spirit that decays everything, and it's coming for you. Major Sweets Candy Factory. You're chaperoning a field trip to a candy factory when the free samples transform the kids into candy-coated killers. 9 Goblins Feast. Enter a goblin village where a feast is being prepared for goblins, orcs, hobgoblins, and witches, and you're the main course. And then finally, Triplets of Terror. You're invited to the Barmy Triplets birthday celebration, but their kind of party involves recreating the murders of their entire family. So as far as what I'm the most excited for, I'm really the most excited for Monstros. I've actually seen the videos of the one that they did in Hollywood, and I cannot wait to see how they're going to pull this one off here. Like, obviously it's going to be great, but I'm really excited for it. I love like the folklore, like houses and like the legendary houses and stuff like that when they do stuff that's a little bit more like based off of those types of stories. So I'm excited for this one. I'm genuinely very excited for this one. After that, it would probably be the museum Deadly Exhibits. I don't know what this one's going to be, but I like the idea of a museum where the artifacts come to life. It's kind of giving Night at the Museum, but if everything was trying to kill you, which I guess is kind of like how Night at the Museum was, because they were really violent in that movie, even though it was a kid's movie. Anyways, moving on. My the third one I'm the most excited for is definitely A Quiet Place. I'm interested in seeing how they're going to pull this off and what they're going to do to make it feel like, there's no sound in there. I have a feeling it's going to be one of those houses that I'm going to be like, screaming in, but then also like afraid to scream in. I don't know. We'll see. I'm very anxious, not anxious, but like I'm very excited to see what they do with this. It sounds like a really interesting concept, what they're planning on doing. And if it is executed the way that they're saying it's going to be, I think it's going to be really cool. Number 4 for me, probably I would say would be Universal Monsters. Can't go wrong with Universal Monsters. And like I said, it's all ladies here. It's a feminine phenomenon, so we are ready for this. I'm excited to see Dracula's daughter and her whole crew, and just see what Van Helsing's daughter does too. My fifth most anticipated house would have to be Insidious, The Further. I think that one's going to be really fun. I don't remember the previous Insidious house that they had, but I think this one's definitely going to be like a super fun one to go through. After that, for me, I would say Goblin. After that, Goblin's Feast is the next one. It was higher up on the list for me when they first started announcing things, but then they announced like Monstrous, and I was like, yeah, no, that one takes the cake. But Goblin's Feast sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. It can either be very mystical and whimsical while still being scary, or it can be very gory. Have a feeling it's going to be incredibly gory. After that, I would probably say Slaughter Cinema 2. I did not get to experience Slaughter Cinema 1, so I'm not as excited for this one as other people are, but I am definitely willing and ready to check it out. After that, Ghostbusters for me would be the next one. And then I would probably put Triplets of Terror and then Major Sweets Candy Factory. And I would have been more excited for Major Sweets Candy Factory, but I do have a phobia that I'm afraid is going to come into play in this house. And I'm definitely like, I will probably wait till other people have gone in the house first so I can know what's in it before I actually go through it. So that way I can prepare myself mentally if the phobia is indeed included in there, like I think it's going to be. So yeah, Major Sweets is at the bottom for now, but who knows? Who knows? This is the first year I think I've been the most excited for an original house rather than an IP. So I'm interested in seeing if the Monstrous house lives up to the hype for me, because that's the one I'm like, I will be. I probably will go and try to do like A Quiet Place first just to get that out the way. But that was probably one that is going to be on my list to do opening night, Monstrous. So get ready. And now we have the scare zones. So now this is the caveat here. 4 of the 5 scare zones have been announced. One of the scare zones is already almost like fully constructed, but they haven't announced it yet, which I don't understand why. They kind of teased it, but then they didn't like fully announce it yet. And it's still not even on their website, which I think is wild because like you have the decorations up. We can all see what that one's going to be. So why are you taking so long to tell us what it is? But yes, let's go through this. So this first one is called Duality of Fear. As soon as you enter the gates of Halloween Horror Nights, you must choose a path, follow Sinister, the manifestation of visceral horror, or follow Surreal, the incarnation of unearthly terror. And this is located in the entry of the park. Now, I do have an issue with the scare zones they usually have in the entry of the park. They don't usually feel like scare zones. And that's kind of the sad part about it. They don't usually feel like scare zones. They kind of just like, it's like there's just like a random couple characters hanging out there, and it just never really feels like a fully fledged scare zone. I don't know why they don't use the Minions area anymore. It's kind of weird to me that they don't use that area anymore, because that was like the prime time spot for all of that. But, it'll be interesting how they do this. And then they have Demon Queens. And Demon Queen says, get caught in an otherworldly hellscape, ripped from the darkest corners of your mind. 4 merciless queens, loyal to Surreal, rule, surrounded by herds of fanatical followers. This is going to be located in the Hollywood section in front of Born Stuntacular. So this is the first path you can take. Both paths is going to be either going through New York or it's going to be going through Hollywood. And I'm assuming that's where that one is, because the props that they have out for the other scare zone in the New York section look like a different scare zone. So I'm assuming that Demon Queens is going to be in front of the Born Stuntacular. But we'll see. I could be wrong. That could be wrong. And then we have Swamp of the Undead. In Backwaters, Louisiana, you unwittingly wander onto private property where you're swamped by zombies born from the blood born from the bodies of trespassers who were killed and dumped in a nearby bog. And that's located in Central Park. So the area that has like the covered with the trees, it's located there. And they've got a lot of the props out there, and it looks pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. I'm really excited for that. Then the fourth scare zone we have is Torture Fair, and this is the one that I think is located in New York because a lot of the props that they've been putting out kind of look like Torture Fair. So it says, "Come one, come all to Sinister's Renaissance Fair with the devious theme of medieval torture. Brave the gloriously gory homemade torture devices till you're put out of your misery." And that should be located in front of the Mummy in New York. And then finally, the one that they haven't announced yet, but all the stuff is up for, is Enter the Blumhouse. And it's not really officially been announced, so there's no like synopsis for it, but it's supposed to feature characters, monsters from hit Blumhouse films, and that will be in San Francisco and I know that will be in San Francisco because if you look at the photos, all of the stuff is set up and there's a giant sign that says Blumhouse. So I'm like, can you just announce it already? But yeah. And so some more random tidbits. We have the Nightmare Fuel show is coming back, the one that's in the former Fear Factor Theater. This one is called Nocturnal Circus. Now, I saw this show for the first time last year, and my cousin who's seen it multiple times was like, it was basically the same show from last year with like a couple of different illusions. So she was kind of like, about it. I liked it because it was new to me. But I'm excited that they're doing a different theme this year, and I'm really hoping it's a different show so that maybe it's a little bit better received than last year's show. Even though the Lagoon show is repaired because they're doing the Lagoon show with the drones right now, it doesn't look like we're getting one for HHN this year. And if it does change, I'll let you guys know. But right now, it just looks like we're getting the one show, the Nocturnal Circus, which is kind of sad because I really, really loved the Lagoon show, like so much. And it would have been cool if they brought that drone show with the Lagoon show for Halloween Horror Nights. So they haven't really technically like announced what rides are going to be open, but usually the rides that are open are Rip Ride Rockit, The Mummy, Escape from Gringotts, Transformers, and Men in Black. The Tribute Store has not been built, and it does seem like it's going to be in its usual location in New York, but we'll see. The food menu has not been announced yet, so there's been a few things that have been announced food-wise, but they haven't announced like fully the food menu yet, so we're still waiting on quite a few things, quite a few announcements. And then finally, if you stay on property at any one of the resorts Universal Orlando has to offer, they will be decked out and ready for Halloween Horror Nights with themed bars, food, and merchandise. They usually do this thing in Cabana Bay where you can go and take pictures. It's like in a conference room. And you have to be staying at a Universal hotel in order to take advantage of it. However, they haven't announced what that is yet, or if they're even going to be doing that. Usually they announce it a little bit closer to when the event opens. Maybe this coming week we'll get like a bunch of announcements. I know this past week they were kind of focusing on Wizarding World for Epic Universe. They were focusing on like announcing that, so maybe they just didn't want to overload people, but this week maybe we'll get some more announcements on stuff like the food and the other shows and things like that. I'm hoping so, because I would love for them to bring this back, because I'm actually staying at Cabana Bay the first night that I'm there, like for opening night. I'm actually staying there, and the whole purpose of us staying there was for that. That was the whole purpose. And we are going to go resort hopping and see what other stuff they have. And I'll probably make a video of opening night. It's not going to be polished. I'm not going to be filming in the haunted houses or anything. It's just going to be like a fun little vlog of the event and stuff. Just fun stuff. Nothing crazy. So I'm looking forward to that, just to kind of talk about opening weekend. So now that I've told you facts about this year's event and how exciting it's going to be and what to expect from it, let's talk about some tips. And I'm going to try to keep this as short and sweet as possible because I can be long-winded. I also cut a lot of tips out that I had done last year, because like after going last year and going as many times as I did last year, it definitely is a different vibe now, and I just want you to know that it could probably change from this year too. So these are just basic tips. We're going to start with the general ones. So the first thing first is make a game plan. Where you're going to stay, which ticket option works best for you, whether you want to do stay and scream, get express passes, etc. It's good to do that before you get there, because you're not going to be able to do everything most likely in one night unless you have express passes. You might get lucky, but yeah, you're not going to be able to do everything in one single night, and it's just better to have a game plan. Number 2, bring a poncho. A lot of people don't realize Florida, that hurricane season doesn't end till like mid-November. And we may not get a major hurricane this year. We may not get a major hurricane, like aside from what we're dealing with right now. Hopefully we won't. But we will get plenty of rain. And a lot of people will forget to bring ponchos. I just bought some really nice freaking ponchos from Amazon because I'm going to Epcot next weekend. And that's why I bought them, because it's supposed to rain next weekend. So I bought them for that. But I was like, I would, and they weren't even that expensive. They were $7 for two. I would say invest in some really nice ponchos, some really solid ones. Obviously, you can get them at Universal while you're there if it does start raining and you just like, you're like, oh crap. You can bring an umbrella. No one's going to stop you. Just remember, you have to carry that umbrella around all night. So if that's something you don't want to do, then I would opt to not bring an umbrella. But I know I will definitely be bringing a poncho when I go, especially opening night, because even though a lot of people are manifesting that there will be no rain on opening night, let's be real. We know there's going to be rain on opening night. There always is rain on opening night. Hopefully it just won't be a downpour. It'll just be like a nice steady little rain. So yeah, bring a poncho. Get there early, whether you're planning on doing the Scream early or waiting at the entrance. Try to arrive 1 to 2 hours before the event opens. I'm not kidding. The Scream early last year, we got there at like 3 p.m. We were already wrapped around the building. We were in the area for Stranger Things and Dueling Dragons, and that was up by New York, and they had us lined up almost around the Minions Cafe. That's how it was. Yeah, and that was before we even got into the Scream early area. That was just to get into the area. So yeah, it gets long and you'll be standing in the hot sun for a while. But if you're planning on, if you want to try to do as much as possible in one night and you don't really have the luxury of spending money on an express pass, that's your best bet, is to get there as early as possible, whether you do Scream early or you get there to the entrance and stand at the gate for at least an hour. So that's what I'm going to be doing opening night, because I want to see the opening ceremonies. So it's going to be hot. It's going to be brutal, and I just got to be ready for it. It's really what it is. Know which houses you want to hit first and which ones you don't mind waiting for. You'll probably be waiting in line for at least an hour on peak nights. So when they start to, now that they've dropped the house list, when they start to drop the maps, people will upload them. Take a look at them on Google and see where the houses that you want to go in most. I believe A Quiet Place is going to be in the New York section. So if that's one you want to do, that's where you got to go straight ahead and map out your route. Kind of think of which ones you don't mind waiting for like at least an hour in, because you will probably be waiting for that. If you want, now I kind of want to change this one a little bit, but not entirely. If you want the best chance of getting through everything without paying for an express pass, go on the Sunday, Wednesday, or Thursday. Now, you can still go on a Sunday, and I think you can probably get through most everything without needing an express pass. And even Thursdays aren't too bad. Wednesdays, however, for some reason, I went last year on a Wednesday, like randomly, and it was so packed I only got to do 2 houses. I was like, don't y'all have to work? It's a Wednesday in September. Don't y'all have to work the next day? Then I thought about it and I'm like, oh, I have to work the next day and I'm here. So maybe I shouldn't be talking crap. But yeah, Sunday, Wednesday, or Thursday is usually the best to go if you don't want to pay for express passes. Stay hydrated. Don't be afraid to purchase Freestyle cups so you can get free water all night. It gets hot. Like I said, people think that, just because it's fall, we get a season, it's Florida. No, we don't. We're in the Caribbean, okay? We're in the Caribbean. We don't get seasons. So it's still hot and you're still going to be sweating. Make sure you stay hydrated. If you're going to be drinking, make sure you stay hydrated. We don't want anybody passing out from like heat exhaustion, okay? You don't want to be that person that's in the line and hits the ground because you haven't had any water. So drink your water, okay? Okay. All right, this one is kind of like one of my favorite ones because I used to be part of this Universal Studios pass holders group, and they were really bad at every year when it got to HHN season. They would ask is this event too scary? Is this event too scary? Here's the thing: do your research beforehand if you're unsure of something. If this is going to be too scary for you, if it's going to be too scary for your kids, there are plenty of resources online where you can watch the event and see what it has to offer, even inside the houses. Obviously, a lot of people like to say, anyways, sorry, my mom just called me to ask me a silly question. But yeah, here's the thing. I know a lot of people say that when you go through the houses or go to the event, it's a lot different than watching it on YouTube, and it is. I will say that. I watch it on YouTube and then I go to the event. I know that it's different. It's a different energy. However, you could get a pretty good gist on whether or not you or your child would be comfortable going to an event like this, or somebody you love would be comfortable going to an event like this just by watching it on YouTube. Yes, you're going to have a different feeling when you get there, but it gives you enough of an idea of what to expect when you're there, of how crowded the event is going to be, of how loud it is, of how the houses work, how much strobe lights there are, how many crazy effects there are, just stuff like that. Like, I don't discredit doing your research, because at the end of the day, you can ask me, oh, do you think this event will be too scary for your kids? And I'm going to tell you, yeah, I think it's too scary for your kids, but your kid might not be afraid of anything. So for me, I can't tell you if this is an event to take your kids to or to go to if you're a scaredy cat. Only you can look at videos from the event and go, maybe that's not the thing for me, or maybe, yeah, I think I'll try it. You have the right to leave if it gets to be too much for you. I know it sucks spending a lot of money on something and then not making it the whole night. Trust me, I've been there. But you have the right to leave. No one's going to hold you hostage and tell you can't leave. So you can go at any point in time if it is too much for you. In some ways it can be too much for me at times, That's why I get the frequent fear pass, because if I get overwhelmed, I can go home and know that I can come back another day when I'm feeling a little bit better and take in the event. So yeah, no, I definitely don't think that anyone can tell you what your limits or your children's limits are based on the event. I can tell you that if you have to ask if it is a good event for you, I can tell you probably not. But I would advise watching videos and just seeing what the event entails, because even though, yeah, you can't always tell, I would definitely still try, overall. All right, so the next 5 tips have to do with the Scream Early. I keep calling it Stay and Scream because at one point it was called Stay and Scream, but now it's Scream Early. These next 5 tips are regarding that. So the first one is, if you're doing Scream Early, look online or ask around to find out where the areas are located and what houses are in proximity to those areas that will be available. As of right now, we don't have any information regarding where the houses are going to be located. There is speculation maps that say, but there's no official announcement. And then also, on top of all of that, we don't know where the Stay and Scream locations are going to be. Now, I know that in the past they've done them in the Simpsons area and in the New York area. And I don't see that changing anytime soon. So those are things I would keep an eye out, ask people for, and stuff like that. Keep an eye on Reddit, Facebook, Instagram, what have you, even Twitter if you want to. I don't use Twitter, but keep an eye on social media for that type of stuff. Get there early. The earlier you arrive, the sooner you'll get into the house when it opens. They usually start lining up for Scream Early at 3 p.m. Like I said, they usually advise being there by 3 p.m. Some people start lining up a lot earlier than that. They find out where it's going to be and they're already chilling in that. If you want to be the first person in your preferred house in that area, line up as close to that time as possible. Now, be prepared to stand for at least an hour, or sit, but keep your spot. Go to the bathroom beforehand, buy any drinks or food before, and get cozy. Now, last year when I went, they did have some food booths open while we were there, and we were there with a large enough group that some of us could just like kind of veer off and go to the bathroom, veer off and grab a snack, and then come back and get back in our spot. Don't go in a large group. If you're going with like a large group of people, don't all of you like mass exit the line and think you're going to get back in your spot. That's just not going to happen. If one person wants to go and grab a couple of drinks, then go grab a couple of drinks. If one person wants to go and grab some food for some people, grab some food. They do allow you to do that. You can veer off and leave and go to the bathroom, but just think about where you're at in line and who you've got with you to save your spot, because I've seen people in past years that will be in front of you in line, and there'll be like 3 people, and then they'll all leave to go get like food, and then they'll come back and think that they can all come back and get in front of you, and it's like, no, it was just the 3 of you, and all 3 of you left, so now you got to go to the back of the line at this point. Like, you can't just come and say, oh, well, we were here before. No, it doesn't work that way. So I'm just letting you guys know, just etiquette for the park. don't try to cut a bunch of people. If you're there with your just your spouse, let's say, just the two of you, one of you go to the bathroom, the other one hold the spot. Then switch off. You know who goes where. Don't both of you leave and then think you can come back to the same spot. It doesn't work that way. And maybe there's people behind you will be nice and let you cut in front of them, but most people will probably do that and then also be cursing your bloodline. So the only person that should be cursing your bloodline should be, like Dracula's daughters. Don't worry about exact placement in line too much, because once they open the houses, it will turn into a proper line and you'll get through the entire house, usually before the park opens. And I will say this, last year when we went, and I know this is because we picked one of the most popular houses, we started with Stranger Things, I think we got in the house when the event opened. That is how packed that was. I think we got in the house by the time the event actually opened. It was the first time that I've ever gone and done Scream early and come out and the event's already started. Like usually we can do like one or two houses before people start coming in. Not last year. And like I said, we picked one of the most popular houses. We picked Stranger Things. So personally, yeah, that was also because I didn't know if I was going to do the Rush of Fear pass last year until like I was there and I was like, you know what, I'm doing it. So that was always my plan, was we're going through Stranger Things first, because Stranger Things is one of my favorite shows. So I was like, we're going through that one first and who cares what happens after that. And then the final tip for the Scream early, it's if you have Express Pass, do not use it on the first house during Scream early. The line moves fast enough that you'll probably wait no more than 10 minutes to get into the house. And if you end up liking that house, you have to you have front of the line access to it for a later time that night. Now, here's the thing. If you're only going one night, and I said this last year, when I said this tip last year, I was kind of not thinking about like if you're only going one night. If you're only going one night, I completely understand why you might think it's a good idea. And also, if you're dealing with a house with the popularity level of like something like Stranger Things, which I don't think it's going to happen this year, but if you're dealing with a house with that massive popularity level, I can understand you wanting to use your Express Pass. That makes total and complete sense. No disrespect there. However, I do think it's a little bit better, in my opinion, to save the Express Pass until later that night. Because if you go through a house first, the first house you go through that night and you really like it, you can use that Express Pass later that night to go through it and then probably cut down on the majority of the wait time. So again, it's up to you. You can do whatever you want with your Express Pass, obviously. But for me, I personally feel like I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't use it if I had it. All right, the last 6 tips, we're going to go through these real quick. The last 6 tips are food, drink, and crowd control tips. Now, I'm being a lot more generous than I was last year. Last year, I was kind of being a bit of a jerk. I've changed. I've grown. Growth. We all have growth moments. So, all right. So the first thing here I'm going to say is if you drink alcohol, I don't really drink alcohol that much anymore, but every now and then I like to have a drink. If you drink alcohol, avoid the specialty drinks in the booths for the most part, because they're all pre-made drinks that are pretty much incredibly sugary and they don't have a lot of alcohol in them. Last year there were a few I heard that were pretty strong. Like I know that I think my cousin got the Heart of Damballa, and she said that one was strong, and it was a pre-made drink from the Chucky kiosk that we were at. But I still prefer to go to the main bars just because you can watch them mix the drinks. They're not just pouring it from a faucet, basically. Last year they had a bar in the San Francisco area called the Peacock Bar, and that was the place to be. And that was actually a full service bar. You could get specialty drinks, but you could also get regular cocktails, and I believe you could get beers there too. So definitely check that out. It was kind of behind where that Chez Alcatraz used to be. It was kind of behind that area. And I think it's going to be perfect if they do the Peacock Bar again this year, which it looks like they are, because it looked like it was set up for it, because the Blumhouse Scare House zone is there, and Peacock and Blumhouse are like this. So like it'll like seamlessly go into, they can maybe even have characters wander into that area. Last year, that's where they had David S. Pumpkins, and he was a riot. I know a lot of people were like, really, David S. Pumpkins? But he was so much fun. They also had a Purge photo op too, which was cool. There was also another full service bar that I didn't know existed until the last day I went, when there was, now the lighting's changing, the clouds have finally hit from this storm. Okay. The bar was called, like, the bar was where the Animal Actor stage is, and it was like right in front of there, and I don't know how I missed it, but we kept walking by it, but we were looking for a bar when we were leaving the Last of Us house, and we happened to find that bar right there. And that's a full service bar as well. They do serve alcohol, like they do serve mixed drinks there and specialty drinks, and I believe beers there. So if you're looking for good drinks, like not just like pre-made in a big vat drinks, like that's the place, those are the places to go. But if you like those sugary drinks, there's nothing wrong with that too. All the booths at the event will have at least one or two of those. So, and I will stick by this tip here. Despite what everyone says, there is no longer a formula to hitting every house in one night without an express pass. Most nights are incredibly packed, and the wait times can be anywhere from 50 to 130 minutes long for the houses. The best thing to do is go as early as possible, head for your most anticipated house first, and work your way over from there. And also, accept that you might not see everything. It's okay, just enjoy the event. It's true. There used to be a formula. The formula was, and if you want to still follow this, you can, but you can run into some snags. Was start in the back of the park first, where Men in Black is, and work your way, or not really, where Kid Zone is or DreamWorks Land is, and work your way up from there. And you could potentially, because what would always happen is that everybody that would come in for for opening would go straight to New York. That's what they would always do. They would just funnel straight down there. And so you could go this way and you could find shorter waits for all the houses in the back of the park. And then by the time you're done with all those houses, the shows, getting food, getting drinks, and you start migrating to the front of the park, all those people that have been standing in line in the front of the park have migrated to the back of the park. They're starting to migrate back there. So the lines up front are not as long of a wait. That doesn't matter anymore, because you have the people that are here for Scream Early, the people that are here for tours, the people that are here that have bought express passes. Like, you have people with all sorts of ticketing and everything. It is crowded. It is packed. That's all I can say. It's crowded. It's packed. It is very, very difficult to see everything in one night. Is it impossible? No. But I think the expectation should always be that you're not going to see everything in one night. The rain is here, I believe. I think it's possible you're not. Goodness gracious. Debbie's here. The rain's like pounding my window right now. Oh boy, I hope we don't lose power. That would suck. Had to fix my blinds. Sorry. But yes, there's no pure formula to getting through everything in one night without an express pass. Basically, if you don't have an express pass, you kind of got to just accept that it's probably not going to happen for you. And it's okay if it doesn't. It doesn't mean that your night is ruined or the event sucks. It just means that the event is popular and there's a lot of people there. And if you don't like that, then this might not be the event to go to for you personally. So now this one is a mixed bag. Sometimes the rides have long waits. It depends on when you go. It's such a mixed bag with the rides. I've seen a lot of people say that the wait times are always short. They're not always short. There was one year that I went that Mummy was almost as long as waiting in line for a haunted house. But last year when I went to Halloween Horror Nights, for, I think it was like a random Friday I went, we rode the Mummy, and it was like we literally walked right on the Mummy. We walked right on it. Like, there was no wait. There was no one in line. We just walked in, went up the stairs, boom, got on the roller coaster, rode the roller coaster, left. and so sometimes you can get really lucky with that. Sometimes you cannot. Like, that's just the simple long and short of it. Sometimes you could be really lucky and the line's really short, and sometimes it could be really long. So it just depends on what people are feeling that night, if people really want to go on rides or not. It just depends. So yes, the lines can be shorter for the rides during Halloween Horror Nights, but don't go with the anticipation that it could be, because you might get unlucky and get there and your night is the night everybody decides they want to get on Rip Ride Rockit. This one is, in my opinion, these last three are the most important of the entire event. Number 16, stay with your party when in line for the houses unless it's an emergency. If you want to grab food, if you want to grab drinks, do it before you get in line for a house. If you got to go to the bathroom, you got to go to the bathroom. It happens, leave the line, go to the bathroom. But if you want to buy food or drinks, do it before you get to the house. It's not that hard. you know, when you're walking to the house and there's see something you want to grab it. Because the thing is, if the line is moving, it's going to be really hard for you to catch back up to those people. It's going to be really difficult. Grab everything before you get in line and then stand in line and chill with your party until after. Now, again, if you have to go to the bathroom, that's an emergency. That's obviously no one's going to like berate you for that. Now the sun's back out. That's crazy. It got dark for 2 seconds. Number 17, probably the most important rule of all of this. Do not touch, harass, or hit the scare actors. If your reaction is that you throw punches when you're scared, then you should not go to this event or any Halloween event. Don't harass the scare actors. Don't say inappropriate stuff to them. Just, you know, enjoy the event. Be polite. Be respectful. And then finally, have fun, because the event is always a good time. And that's something that I talked about in my video talking about the problems that, you know, Halloween Horror Nights has right now, is that a lot of people just aren't going to have fun. They're going to say that they did this cool thing. And I think that that's kind of hurting the event, and it's hurting the people that are going to the event. So my personal thing, please, when you go to have fun. That, at the end of the day, go to have fun. That's the main thing. This event is so much fun, even when the lineup of the houses may not be your thing, even when, you know, it's raining, even when it's hot. This event is so much fun. And at the end of the day, that's what should be the most important thing, is that we're all having fun at this event. So that's all the tips and tricks I have for you. That's a little bit of the insight and the information I have for you this year. What are you looking forward to if you're going to Halloween Horror Nights in 2024? Or do you wish you were going to Halloween Horror Nights in 2024? Let me know down in the comments. I would love to see what you guys think of all of this. And also, please do not forget to leave me a like, subscribe if you're interested in seeing more content like this. We are fully in the full swing of Halloween Horror Nights season, and I am ready to go. I am ready to go. But I'm excited for it. I'm going to be making a lot more videos regarding Halloween Horror Nights in the next few weeks. Going to be making a little vlog for opening weekend. I'm super excited for that. That's going to be a little bit different than the content I normally do, and I hope you guys like stuff like that. But yes, in any case, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next creepy critique.